I legitimately cannot think of what it could be. It wasn't anything interesting because I don't care about her life. Like, I care about her life now, but I don't care about her life before. I love interest. Me. Today I have taken up the challenge of reading for 24 hours, which is going to be a little bit difficult because I have tons of things to do in the next like 24 hours plus. We're just going to see how well this goes. Even if it isn't like 24 hours straight, I will be reading for a total of 24 hours in the next like 2.5 days, I hope. Here is the TBR for this reading challenge. So we have When We Were Them by Laura Taylor. I don't know what any of these books are. I got this like at Barnes & Noble like a year ago. Haven't read it yet. And then we have The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager, I think that is. And then we also have Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. These two books are like recommended by Haley Pham. She's also like a reader, girly content creator, if you didn't already know that, but I assume that you already do. These two books are on her 5-star list, so I really wanted to read them. One is like a little bit more horror-ish, I think, like spooky mystery, murder mystery themed, I think. I don't know. And then this one is more romance genre. So this one is more up my alley, and then this one, I don't read too many romance books. The last romance-ish book that I read was Hopeless by Coleen Hoover. If you want to go watch me read that, you should go watch it right now. And then we also have Beast and Beauty Dangerous Tales by Soman Chanani. Oh, I don't know, I definitely butchered that name. He's my favorite book author. He has the series that I like fell in love with. Goal is to finish these 3 books, and then if I have time to, if there's time left over, like maybe an hour or 2, I'm gonna read this. I do have some of it read already. When We Were Them is the first book that I'm gonna be reading because I've had this book forever. Like I said, I think I've had it for over a year, and I have read a few pages of this, and I don't think I liked it so far, but I legitimately like read like 3 pages, which is not very much. I don't know anything about this book, so this is first book. Let's get into it. The main characters of this story are Willa, Luz, and Britton. Willa is the main character. Her whole story revolves around them. There's now different POVs of them. The other characters are Willa's mom and Britton's mom. Willa's sister, there is a friend named Kem, and a love interest, Nico, for Willa. It has been about 2 hours of me reading this. I am a little bit bored of this book. Nothing much is happening. It's just kind of like a normal basic book. Like there's a goal for there to be reached at the end of the book, but I'm kind of bored because I feel like I'm not getting any clues or substance. But to be fair, I am only like less than 100 pages in, so I guess sometimes I do read like full-on pages, but a lot of the times I'm like, ugh, I'm bored, and then I put my book down and then pick up my phone, or I skip some lines in the book. But I also feel like I'm not missing anything by skipping lines or skipping a few pages. This book took me forever to read, only because I had so much going on, right? So I would read whenever I could. I read when I went to go visit my sister. So we're gonna talk about the book a little bit more, okay? So the book is about Willa, who has betrayed her best friend of like 10 years. She did like something so horrible, and so we like follow her on this journey of figuring out what is it that she did so horrible to like make her friends like not want to be friends with her anymore. And the story like flip-flops between timelines, so from the present, but sometimes it goes back to when they were 15, when they were 16, when they were 17, just like adding more and more context to her story and what everything is about. I've been really busy, so I haven't been able to read too much, but today in the evening I got a lot of reading done. I feel like this is how much I have finished reading, and then this is how much I have left. I'm on page 251, and I believe this has 336 pages, so I'm about like 100 pages left. Let me give a quick rundown. I will say I have been skipping a few lines here and there. Like it kind of like time travels a bit, so it's like present and then it goes back like a year ago or 2 years ago, and like the flashbacks keep getting like a little bit older. So like at the start it was like back then when we were 15, and now it's like back then when we were 16, and now it really is actually like back then when we were 17. So I think she's 18 now, so it's like getting older, you know? I still have no idea what's happening, and I'm hoping that we can uncover a lot in the next like 2 hours. Okay, so I'm in line to pick up my sister right now for school, and I'm reading, and there's supposed to be like this big betrayal thing that happened in the book. The main character, Willa, she betrayed her friends, and she used one of her friend's brothers that it was her boyfriend. And I don't know what the betrayal is. Like I don't even have any hints or clues to it. I keep or guess what the betrayal was, but I legitimately cannot think of what it could be. The whole time there's like something that happens with her brother, I think, or there's like another underlying thing. Not her brother, her friend's brother that she's like in love with and everything. There's like this whole like drowning incident that happened with Willa's little sister like years ago, and then her mom was like just really like traumatized by it, I guess. So like there is no talking about water, no pool, no ocean, no nothing. The pool that they had is where the daughter drowned in. She like filled it up with dirt, and she now plants in her garden and like kind of neglect her children. Oh my god, do you see me crying about this right now? Like it's something that happened, okay? I can't tell you what. It was horrible. Like, why does this always happen to the people that I love the most? Okay, so it is 9:30 and I just finished reading the book. It took me about 7.5 to 8 hours to read this book, which is a little interesting to me because this book is actually shorter than the last book that I read recently, which is Hopeless by Colleen Hoover. That book is like 400-ish pages. This book has 50 less pages than the Colleen Hoover book one. But Colleen Hoover took me like 6 hours and 40 some minutes to finish, and this took me like 7 to 7.5. I say 7 to 7.5 because my stopwatch kept messing up. I forgot to like stop it one night. I woke up today and I saw that it was continuing, and I'm like, oh my god. And I'm gonna be so honest, this is a young adult fiction. So the first third, bored. If someone were to ask me what happened in the first part of this book, I'd be like, I don't know. I don't know what happened, because we were getting introduced into the characters and like their whole thing, and I was just like, I don't care, like just tell me what happens. And then the second third, I was like, okay, we're like starting to like get more clues. I'm starting to like piece it a little bit. I'm starting to like have theories. I'm getting kind of into it. Kind of like the end of the second third, and the last third, I was kind of like, I was crying. You guys saw, I was crying. I was sad. I was crying. Anyways, I feel like it's a good book. I love the book. I think it's a good book. I need to reread the book in order to understand the whole story. For all of the things that I've mentioned, I think I'm gonna give this like a 4.5. I think it very much has the potential to be a 5. Okay, so we're gonna be reading The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I'm really excited to read this because my preferred genre is like mystery, murder mystery, like, but I'm excited to see what this book is about. It is currently 5:03 on Thursday. I have a couple of things that I'd like to do today. We'll see how much of this I can get read. I really like this book, and I think I realized that since reading the 2 recent books, the one that I just read and then the Colleen Hoover one, I've realized that if I like the book and I'll want to keep reading it, I won't want to put it down. Like, the only reason I put it down last night, I was gonna keep reading to 100 pages and I was like 10 away, but the only reason I didn't keep reading was because these little pages, which would freak me out in the middle of the night and after I had just read like whatever I just read, because like I turned this page like a little bit and I saw the black and I was like, it gave me chills because I was so scared because it was night. And it's like a scary book, but nothing too scary has happened yet. I mean, if you read the book, you know, but nothing too scary has happened yet. I just got to the plot twist. If you know me, I love like trying to guess what happens and like what the plot twist is. I was wrong. I guess it was this one person, and then I guess it was this other person, and then I guess it was this other person. Well, I guess technically it was like the second person that I thought it was. Technically, kind of. If you know, you know. But anyways, so we're at the part. And it's kind of creepy now. Before it wasn't that creepy, but now it's creepy. Like last night I put the book away because the tone of it like was creepy. Like, you know, it's a creepy book, it's a scary book, so like the feeling of it is just like creepy. And now I'm actually low-key kind of scared. Guys, I have really sad news. I somehow deleted the entire footage that I did for House Across the Lake for my review. So upset. So I'm gonna just try my best to give you like an honest, truthful review after like maybe a week since I read it. House Across the Lake. So this book was super interesting and super different in my opinion because the main character, I don't even remember her freaking name. Like genuinely, I do not remember her name. Cool and interesting because the point of view of this, I think I've already talked about this since I'm editing this. I like know what I said. But the main character, she like is staying at this lake house and she can like she's observing her neighbor, a couple across the lake. They have like a full glass back that faces her, so she can see everything, especially at night when everything is lit up, and she uses binoculars to spy on them. So I thought it was so cool, at least for the beginning, that she's just observing like we would observe a book, kind of like, you know, when you read a book, right, you can like get involved, right, because obviously it's a freaking book, but we are doing the observing of the book, what is happening in the book, and she is also basically doing the same thing, at least for the beginning of the book. As the book goes on, she's getting more and more and more involved. By the end of the book, she's super involved, okay? She's just like observing the glass house, and it's so cool and so interesting, and I really liked it. And also at the beginning of this book, like literally this much of the book was such a chill book, like nothing much scarily happened. Like there's some sad, not great things in there, but it wasn't like jump scares every 3 minutes, you know what I mean? It wasn't like boom, 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 like all in your face. It was like just telling the story, and that's one thing too. I also didn't get very bored reading this book. The only time that I'd get bored is when the main character was like talking about her life and like why she was in the lake house, and honestly I didn't care because I just don't care. So it was kind of important to read her story and everything, so I kind of regretted that because it would have added more context to the end. In the last book that I read, I kept skipping lines, skipping paragraphs, skipping pages sometimes, but in this book I barely skipped anything. Like I said, I only skipped whenever the main character was talking about her life, because I don't care about her life. Like I care about her life now, but I don't care about her life before, you know what I mean? But then at the end of the book, it did start getting disturbing. It's super weird and super like, what is happening? Like I kept trying to guess who the killer was, and I was basically wrong all 4 times. I highly recommend you read this book because I am giving it a 4.5. The reason why I'm giving it a 4.5, it could be a 5, but I feel like there's just something missing, so I'm giving it a 4.5. I think if I reread this book, it definitely could make my 4.5 turn into a 5. That was a book, and I really like how we're doing this because the first book that I read, And We Were Them, that's like a non-fiction book, and this is like a murder mystery psychological thriller kind of stuff. And the next book that I'm gonna be reading, which is Better Than the Movies, is a romance book, but I think it's also a young adult fiction, but it's like romance, you know what I mean? It's so, I can't say anything. I'm super excited to read this book because it's like better than the movies, which means that the romance in this book is better than the romance in movies. This is also like 350 pages, so I'm also assuming that this is going to take me about 5 hours. And by the way, this took me 7 hours to finish, so that means that I am at 14 hours, which means that I need 10 more hours in order to read. This is also a Haley fam recommendation, by the way. She gave it a 5. It's like one of her favorite books. So we'll see what I think of it. Better Than the Movie main characters is Liz. These people are all in high school, like their senior year of high school. Liz is the main character, and then she has basically 2 love interests. One of them is named Wes, and then the other one is named Michael, I think. I actually don't remember because he's so irrelevant to me. Wes was her friend their childhood, and so was Michael. They were like all together, and then Michael moved away, and he's just gotten back like a couple months before graduating. Liz is completely and hugely in love with Michael. Oh, she's like trying to do everything that she can in order to make Michael fall in love with her. It is 11:30 at night, and I love this book. So sorry for the lighting, it's absolutely garbage, but this book, it's such a chill, fun vibe. Love interests make me laugh. It's super cute. It's making me be like, I wish I was in a relationship. I wish I was in a talking stage. I wish I had a love interest. Me. I just had the best sleepover, but like I just had to wake up because I needed to take my sister to school, but then my mom took her to school. But I genuinely had the goodest sleep in a really long time, and I genuinely think it's because of the book. It was like my sleep felt like happy, silly, fun vibes. So I had to go on a little trip with my parents 2 hours away from my house, okay? 2 whole hours away from my house. I was reading, right? And it was so cute. This book, I love this book. It's so cute. There's a little bit of like lying done with her best friend. I forgot her best friend's name. I'll be so honest. Like it was like Paige or Kaylee or Sarah or Sierra. I have no idea what her name is. I had to go on a 2-hour-long drive. I was reading the whole time. Here's me eating my little brekkie. Like don't look at me, okay? It was all right. The book was so cute. Like you will literally see my reactions in a little bit where I am just like kicking, giggling, like laughing, like oh my god, this is so cute. And it is so cute, and I'm so in love with this book. Went outside when we came back to eat my banana, have a little snacky, and then read. It was freezing cold though, so I obviously had to go right back inside because I cannot fake being outside in the freezing cold reading. I had like 20 pages left, so I really just finished the last 20 pages. I felt like I was really disconnected from the story though. Done. Finished better than the movies. And also I wanted to say real quick that the book Across the House Across the Lake, it took me 2 days to read it. I read it, started Thursday, and then I finished it Friday. I went back through my thing. Better than the movies. Let's talk about it. I finished this in 2 days, just like the last book. So I started it last night, read for 4 hours, read 3 hours downstairs, and then an hour up in my bedroom in the dark. And then I read 2 hours on my car trip to the town. And then when we came back, I read for about 40 minutes and finished off the book. So in total, my phone says that I've read for 7 hours and 20 minutes. And that's the first time that I've been able to show you my time. Guys, this book is so good the whole time. Oh my god, the characters are funny, to me at least. I don't know. They're so cute. They were like, oh my god, I can't. Oh my god, they had me like giggling, kicking my feet, like you know what I mean? It made me want to have a boyfriend so freaking bad because the love interest in here is the type of person that I would like to be in a relationship with. So it was just so cute, and I loved it. And it was I don't know, I liked it a lot because I feel like I haven't had a book where it just ends so well for a couple, or like it's full-on romance, and it was so cute. And I thought I wouldn't like the full-on romance that much because it was full-on romance, but I don't know, it went by so quick. This book, I read it so fast. To me, it feels like I went by it so fast. Like other books, I felt like I was reading it forever, like oh my god, this is taking forever to read. But this one flew by. I flew by because you know what they say, when you're having fun, time flies by, or something like that. For all of those reasons, I'm going to be giving it a 5. I'm not gonna lie, I really love this book. I feel like for right now, I feel like it's a 4.5 to a 5, so it can be a 5. It's like between that range. I think the only reason why I'm giving it a 4.5 and not just a 5 is because during the end, like I said, I read for like 2, maybe 2.5 hours straight to where we were going, and then we had a big gap of like 2 hours where we were like getting the stuff, and then coming back, I drove back, then I read like the last, I don't know, like 20 pages in 40 minutes. So I feel like I kind of disconnected from their world a little bit, and I wish that I hadn't disconnected so much, and I think maybe that's why I'm giving it a 4.5. But overall, the whole book, I think it's definitely a 5. I 100% see why Haley loves this book. It is so good. I am going to be looking up some more books by Lynn Painter because it was just so good. And now we're going to be going on to Beast and Beauty Dangerous Tales by Soman Chinani. I think I'm saying that wrong, and I'm so sorry, but he is my favorite book author because he is the author of my favorite book series. Also, before I start that, this is like my second favorite couple. I just wish we could have seen more of the couple because I feel like them being a couple, like we didn't even see. This book, I've already read a couple bits of it, but basically I'm going to be reading this book. I think it's a fairy tale slash fantasy fiction. So minus the pages that I've already read, there's about 227 pages left in the book, which will take me probably about 3 hours, which is all I need in order to finish. And I'm so happy that I'm finally gonna finish this challenge because it's been over a week now and I need to get this video out. So this book is basically a collection of mini fairy tales put all into one book but told in a different way. So there's a whole bunch of stories in here like Cinderella, Jack on the Beanstalk, Snow White, Rapunzel, Peter Pan, Red Riding Hood, like a whole bunch of stories, and I really liked it because it was just told in a different way. Like Cinderella was told in a different way. There was different characters but the same characters as well, so it was really cool to read. It took me a whole week and 2 days in order to read for 24 hours, which is so much longer than I initially thought it would take me. I literally scheduled like 2 days for me to read for 24 hours. These are all of the books that I have read for this challenge, and it's been so much fun to read all of them. They're all very different. They're all different genres. They're all just different, and I really like that. Let's start a little bit of a review really quick. We're going to try to make this really fast. So, When We Were Them by Laura Taylor Namey. This is a young adult fiction, and I liked it because I could relate to it, but also I didn't really like it because I was bored and there was like not a lot of action going on, which isn't bad. I just feel like I'm so used to reading a lot of action and I need like something to keep me focused, or else I'm not gonna be focused. Does that make sense? So in this book, there are 3 friends. One of them betrays the other 2 friends in a mega way, so she has till the end of the week to figure out, to give a better explanation to why she betrayed her friends. I skipped a lot of it. I read like the ending and it made sense to me, and I barely even had any context. So for all those reasons, I am giving it officially a 3 or a 3.5. 3.5 because I don't think it's a horrible book, but it's also not my favorite, and I haven't been thinking about it that much. This book also had the topic of drowning. There's a lot of like traumatic experiences for her mother in here, which I thought was kind of like a little silly and a little funny, haha. Not for the reasons that you think it is, but because this book also had the topic of drowning in it. Obviously, it's called The House Across the Lake by Rayleigh Sager. Oh my god. Guys, this book is so good. I don't really think about it too much, but I do think that it is a good book. I'm going to give it a 4.5. I just really liked the perspective of the main character, like observing the couple through their like glass house and like everything that happened. The only thing that made me feel a little funky was the ending. It just made me feel weird. It made me feel like, oh my god, what is happening? It made me very uncomfortable, and I just didn't like that yucky feeling. So that's why I'm not giving it like a 5. I think I'm gonna give it a 4 for that reason, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. That's a 4 for this. This is like a psychological thriller, like a mystery. I think it was very, very interesting to read, and it was very fun to read, and I barely skipped any things in here, which was really nice. And then the third book that I read, which does not have the topic about drowning. I know. Wouldn't it be so funny if all of the books that I read had the topic of drowning? This book is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. It is also an adult fiction, and it is extremely romancy. It's nothing like crazy. It's a very chill romance book, which I really liked, and I loved the playlist because you'd be able to like just play the song whenever it was mentioned in the book, and you could be in the atmosphere, and I loved it so much, and it makes me want to reread this. I want to reread this book so bad, and I probably will because it was so good. I like this challenge because I was able to read different genres that I usually don't read, and I didn't think that I would like this book very much, but I loved it so much. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a 4.5 or a 5. Why I'm like knocking it down from a 5 is because I wish we got to see a little bit more from the couple. Guys, the couple is so cute. It makes me want to have a boyfriend so bad. Like, it's so not fair. Like, why not me? Like, why is it my turn to be happy? Like, what? I just wish at the end of the book we were able to see more of their interactions as an actual couple, as in an actual relationship, because throughout the book we do see their interactions in a romantic-ish way. Like, I wish we were able to see them as a couple. And then the last book that I read was Beasts in Beauty by Soman Chinani. I know I'm saying that wrong. I'm so sorry. Overall, this book was okay. It wasn't anything interesting. It wasn't anything like crazy. In fact, I actually don't even feel like ranking this book because it doesn't even feel like it should be ranked. It's not like a 5, but it's also not a 1, but it's also not a 3 or a 2 or a 4. I just feel like very, very indifferent for this. He did make my favorite book series that I started reading like literally in 4th grade. And the last story in this book guys, it made a reference to my favorite series by him, like his first series, I believe. Like, oh my god. But anyways, those are all the books that I have read. So we are leaving the last book that I read unranked just because I don't feel like it even like has a rank. It was just like a normal book. It wasn't like anything crazy. It wasn't like my favorite book ever, but it also wasn't like something that I hated at all. So I felt very indifferent. But these are all the books that I have read, and I love them all. I think even when we were them, that wasn't the worst book ever, okay? I felt like it was very interesting to read, and I'm very happy that I did this. Hopefully next time I am able to read like 24 hours straight. Definitely be trying that again sometime. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you have any book recommendations, let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye!